What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor. Welcome to another week of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast, and this is where we pick one comic book character every single week. We give you their good points, their bad points, give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that comic book character in a bite-sized chunk. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun. Shaun, how's it going?
Num 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 num, bite-sized chunks. Num num num. Put them in my belly.
Oh wow, strong start, Shaun.
Oh look, I hope we're covering a light and cheery character today, because that's the mood I'm in.
Look, I think we're all in a light and cheery mood, and I was thinking we go full light, full cheery, maybe a bit of what's the best way to say this? A demon's head of some kind. Would that cheer you up?
Sounds scary, Conor.
Last week you
the only thing scarier than demons are ghouls.
Wow, this might be the worst start to any show ever. Ra's al Ghul, Shaun, is our hero or zero this week.
I don't know very much about Ra's al Ghul.
Or I'm going to say Ra's al Ghul. Like you can say like Ra's al Ghul,
Ra's
al Ghul,
Mr. Al Ghul,
Mr. Al Sharpton, right? Ra's al Ghul. We're going to be covering him. His first appearance in 1971. He first appeared in Batman 232. Now,
yes,
what's most important here is, what do you know about Ra's al Ghul?
He is the head of the League of Assassins. Mm-hmm. And he has a bath that he gets into and it makes him young again.
Big bubbly bat.
Big bubbly bat.
Big bubbly bat, right?
He was in Batman Arkham City.
And he was in Batman Begins.
Yeah, he was Liam Neeson's.
He was Liam Neeson in Batman Begins. But most importantly is I will be repeating the phrase, he died and then was brought back to life by the pit.
Okay.
A lot of this.
A lot?
Probably too much.
Okay, more than necessary.
Because the thing about this is that every time he dies, or every time they write a comic book series with him in it,
he's going to die at some point.
He's eventually going to die, and then they're going to be like, Batman's like, and that's it, another chapter over, and then he turns up again 3 months later, he's like, I was brought back by some sort of pit.
Bet you didn't think you'd see me again.
Even though I have some sort of Lazarus pit that can bring me back from the dead.
And you know about that.
So, we are doing Ra's al Ghul. We're starting off in the very start of his history, is that they did his origin at some stage, so I'm just going to start there.
Yeah.
The unnamed child who would become Ra's al Ghul was born over 600 years ago to a tribe of nomads in a desert somewhere in Arabia, near a city where its inhabitants' ancestors have journeyed to the Arabian Peninsula from China. That's a lot of words.
A lot of words, a lot of travel.
He's in the desert. He's born in the desert.
Born in the desert. No name.
No name, right? Ra's was interested in science from an early age. Unable to learn any science living as a nomad, he abandoned his tribe to live in the city, where he could conduct his scientific research. He became a physician and married a woman named Sora, the love of his life.
Oh.
So he's realised he has a massive interest in science. He moves to the big city, the big schmo. The big schmo.
Finds a gal.
Finds his best gal, and him and her are going to live their best of their life, as happy as Larry, whoever Larry is, and they're just going to be delighted with themselves.
Good for him.
Yeah, and that's the end of the report.
Wow, and I'm really glad it was light and cheery.
Then he died.
Oh no.
Ra's discovered the secret of the Lazarus pit, and he saved a dying prince by lowering him into it. So the prince, or the king of the city, wherever he was in, his son was dying.
Right.
And Ra's is a physician here. He's like a doctor or whatever. And the king is like, I need you to save my son. And so he's like, I don't really want it. He's like, you fucking save my son, I'm the king.
Oh, you have to do what I say.
You have to do what I say. So he lowers the son into the pit.
Right.
Now the thing with the Lazarus pit is that you can be driven completely insane by it, as most people are, once you first come out.
Right, okay.
And so, especially if you go straight from death
into the pit,
you come out fully insane, right?
Okay.
So the prince was basically on death's door, so he was just about to die, and he lowered him into it. The prince, who was sadistic to begin with before he was lowered in,
so he was a bad dude anyway,
was driven completely insane by the Lazarus pit. He proceeded to strangle Sora, Rachel's wife, whom he already had his eye on as a romantic interest.
Oh no.
And Sora said, no, I'm happy with my doctor.
With the love of my life.
My love of my life in the big smoke, right?
Yes.
The guy comes back from the pit, immediately goes crazy, strangles Sora to death.
Oh god. Oh no, Raish is not going to be pleased.
He's not going to be pleased. The ruler of the city, unwilling to admit to himself his son's culpability, because, I mean, classic king.
Classic king.
He's also sadistic, the king.
Classic monarchy cover-ups.
Exactly. So they're like, my son couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
You did it wrong.
You made it because you put him in the pit wrong and he came back crazy. This is your fault, Raish. Your wife is dead because of you. Right?
No, Raish has been through enough.
And so he declares Raish guilty of the crime of his wife's death.
Fuck.
And sentence him to a slow tortured death in a cage in the desert. And now, to add to it, who does he add to the cage but Sora's corpse?
Jesus.
So he puts Raish in this cage with his dead wife's body.
In the hot desert.
And says, now, you shouldn't have killed your wife, should you? My son's completely fine now.
As he's there strangling his father.
Yeah. It's not his fault.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
So, however, Raish was set free by the son of an elderly blind woman. Despite having failed to save her, the man felt that he owed Raish a debt for easing his mother's suffering during her last few hours. So Raish tried to save this man.
Right.
So he's a good guy at this point.
Yeah, he's just trying. He's a doctor.
He's a doctor, tried his best.
Yeah.
But he's been wronged several times. Raish and the son headed into the desert to seek the tribe that Raish is born into. Raish is convinced the head of the tribe, his uncle, to follow Raish in his quest for revenge. This
revenge story.
He's got a revenge story by promising the downfall of the king of the city. So he's like, you come with me, we'll take down the fucking king.
Yeah, we'll be in charge.
By understanding the germ theory of disease hundreds of years before anyone else.
Oh,
so he figures
smart.
out that like germs can cause infections, can cause disease.
Right.
And nobody else had, obviously this is 700 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody's figured that out. He's just way ahead of his time. And he'd realised that maybe he could use that to my advantage. So Raish was able
using chemical warfare.
Yeah, Raish was able to infect the prince with a deadly virus by sending him contaminated fabrics. When the ruler of the city came to ask Raish to cure the prince again, the odds, imagine that! You heal him again.
I said you did it wrong the first time, but do it again.
Raish killed both him and his son.
Dude.
Raish then led his tribe to raze the city to the ground and kill all of its inhabitants. So this
he's
is
gone
where
a bit further.
He's gotten the revenge, and now he's like, well, there's no king and prince. And I'm the smartest person here.
And I have a little army behind me.
And I have a little army, and I also have a fucking pit that can bring me back from the dead if anything happens to me.
So, yeah.
Subsequently, Raish declared himself the demon's head.
Yay!
After desecrating the altar of Bisu. So, Raish al Ghul actually stands for the demon's head.
Oh, so that is...
Raish al Ghul, the word, stands for the demon's head. So that's why he was an unnamed child. And he took on the name. And then Raish, I think, was his name. And then he took Raish al Ghul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So Raish spent the next several centuries journeying the world.
Travelling.
Very clearly, centuries there. Because, you know...
The pit.
He's immortal at this stage. Over time, he became a master of many forms of combat, notably fencing. He also built up vast wealth and created the Demon, a large international organisation that he used after his own code name, the Demon's Head. Inside this organisation, there were several factions, most notably the League of Assassins, which was sometimes called the Demon's Fang. So
very good.
He's now slowly over centuries
got a franchise going.
Realise he still is the smartest man around, and he's like, I'm immortal.
So I'm just going to work my whole life towards building
a whole empire. And he's just going to have and he had his whole tribe that took down that sea, and now he has a whole league of assassins that he's built up. Fuck. Because he's just the demon's head.
And why doesn't he go mad from the pit?
Because he normally does it. No, the thing is that he does. It's implied that he does go mad, but he's able to handle it.
Right.
So like that's why he goes from doctor to full on, I'm going to take over the whole world.
Because of the pit.
That's the pit's effect on him.
Right.
But he's somehow strong enough to take it. Fuck. That he doesn't go fully crazy.
Yeah, he's not just slaughtering people.
No, in his mind, it slowly just turns him really slowly every time he uses it. He's just like, I can take over more of the world.
Okay.
I can take over more of the world.
Mad with power.
Mad with power kind of situation, yeah. During his journeys across the world, he came across the Infinity Island in the Indian Ocean and discovered a special Lazarus pit at the core of the island. Using his army of soldiers, Raish invaded the island and conquered the natives of the place, turning them into slaves and gaining resources to expand his empire. For centuries, Raish kept the island as a secret place, making the world believe it was an abandoned island. So he's just like cultivating his whole little empire, getting stronger and stronger.
And he has a new pit again.
And he has a stronger pit, like he's like into the source of the Lazarus pit. During all those years, Raish used the Lazarus pit to expand his lifespan. So basically he's just trying to become the smartest, best fighter,
richest, most powerful man.
You have endless time. He can do whatever he wants.
It doesn't matter how long it takes.
No, he's just going to get there, right?
Fuck.
And so years later, Raish uses the organisation during World War II to fight against the Axis in order to stop the war. A casualty from such efforts was the death of a close soldier, forcing Raish to raise the man's son as his own. The teenager, by the name of Quinlan, developed a bad attitude after his parents' deaths.
No.
Oh, fucking bitch.
Quinlan,
get it together. Get over your parents' deaths, man. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, there's a bath that can bring him back to life, but we're not going to use it.
Now, if you excuse me, Rubber Ducky and me are going for a swim.
Excuse me, I just found some crow's feet.
Which used to upset Raish's new wife, Melisandre. Quinlan eventually discovered Raish's Lazarus pit, but he was caught by Melisandre. The young man fled the scene, but he pushed Melisandre into the pit, killing her.
Killing her?
Yeah, killing her. I think it's implied that like the pit has to have certain scenarios. She just fell in from a very great distance and died upon impact.
Right, okay.
Raish lost his wife and his surrogate son on the same day, who later adopted the alias of Quain and became an international terrorist. That's a whole thing.
Right, okay.
So what happened is then Infinity Island was bought by Bruce Wayne.
No.
Yeah, because Bruce Wayne thinks it's abandoned. I might use it for a bit of a bat cave.
Bat Island.
Maybe a bat island of some sort. Sure, it's abandoned.
Yeah, no one will miss it.
He buys it. And suddenly he goes there to visit and he's like, fuck.
What's going on here?
It's like there's people living here. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And Raish has this whole League of Assassins set up there. As the leader of the Demon, Raish had control over the League of Assassins, but the League was run by a few of Raish's most trusted people. Unfortunately, in the modern days, Raish had a falling out with the former president of the League, Mr. Dark, who kidnapped Talia.
Damien Dark?
No, I think it's just Dr. Dark.
Okay.
So, in all this, obviously, he's lived so long. He has two daughters, Nissa and Talia. I think he has three daughters, but Nissa and Talia are the famous ones.
Right.
Talia is the most famous.
Yeah.
Talia al Ghul. And obviously, they were born centuries ago as well, but he keeps them alive. They used the pit as well.
Okay.
So... And I'm pretty sure Nissa was born in the 18th century. And she's, yeah.
Okay.
Talia is still alive. And the thing about this is that Talia eventually gets kidnapped by Dr. Dark.
Right.
And as a way to get revenge, so Dr. Dark, mad at Ra's al Ghul, kidnaps Talia.
Yeah.
Who saves Talia but one Bruce Wayne, Mr. Bishmin.
Bishmin.
Talia was eventually rescued by the Dark Hero from Gotham City, and she killed Dr. Dark in self-defense. After these developments, Raish became aware of the impact that Batman had on his daughter. For example, that Batman and Talia al Ghul were having a bit of romantic chemistry.
A bit of fun times.
She immediately fell in love with Batman.
Right.
And he's like... Yeah, alright.
Fair enough.
He never says no.
Yeah.
But Bruce is like, oh, well, look. Because apparently it's said in the comics like, oh, Talia's like one of the most beautiful human beings on the planet.
Right.
And so Bruce is like, I mean, it could be worse.
Robin, guess who I'm with?
Shortly after, Raish reached Batman, seeking his help to finding his missing daughter, who was apparently kidnapped in the same way as Dick Grayson. Right? So he comes to another, he's like, she's been kidnapped again.
Right.
You need to come save her. But in reality, Raish should just set all this up because he's testing Bruce now.
Okay.
He calls him the detective, by the way. He never calls him Batman. He's always the detective.
Ooh.
Detective, what are you doing here?
He admires his mind more than his punching.
His mind more than his punching. So he brings Batman in and he sets up this whole elaborate thing as a way to test Batman and if he's a suitable heir to the League of Assassins, heir to the League of Assassins empire. Because now he sees Bruce And Batman, he also knows Bruce Wayne as Batman, but he sees Batman as an heir rather than an adversary.
Fuck.
So he's like, you're going to take over the whole living. You live in the dark.
Yeah.
And you're basically perfect.
You've become the best fighter without having to live 500 years.
And my daughter's madly in love with you. The two of you can lead the League of Assassins when I go. See, Raish lives in this weird world where he thinks he's like, oh, I'll build for an heir.
Yeah.
But he's also so afraid of death that he'll never die. So it's a weird
he won't
thing.
Let himself die.
He's always like, oh, I need an heir. But like, he would never willingly give it up.
Yeah.
Unless he died.
That's crazy.
But every time he dies, they just bring him back.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange situation. He wants power, but he also wants it to look like he's looking for heirs.
Yeah, he wants it to look like there's a goal. Like there's an end goal.
And so Batman obviously proved to be a worthy successor. And Talia, who was in love with Batman, Raish was willing to give him her hand in marriage.
Fuck.
So he's like, marry my daughter, you're a new heir, and him.
We're all cool.
And Batman, of course, is like, yeah, you run the League of Assassins, so
I don't like killing.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
I mean, and if I am in charge, I'm gonna stop the League of Assassins.
Yeah. See, Batman didn't answer him straight away, and Raish would actually constantly keep in contact with him. And at first, he keeps he sends Batman on trips for minor crimes, like someone's been kidnapped, or there's not minor crimes, but someone's been kidnapped, or there's a disease that's spreading out over here that you need to solve.
Right.
But then Batman finally figures out that Raish is setting all of these things up
just to be in contact with him.
Keep in contact with him with the detective. Just so to build up a trust, a relationship with him. Batman, very trusting character, as we all know.
As we all know, Batman loves every human.
Yeah, everybody. So, of course, this is where the rivalry starts. Eventually, Batman figures it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're evil. Obviously.
You're the bad guy.
You're the bad guy. And even though I love Talia, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Because you run the League of Assassins. Obviously, Batman.
Come on, you're a detective, for fuck's sake.
So they eventually have a fight, and they have a duel to the death, right?
Ooh.
It was then that...
It doesn't mean much with Ray.
No, that's the problem, right? Because he has the Lazarus pit, and Talia literally brings him back from the dead once again.
Right?
With his strength increased and his mind crazed, Raish attacked Batman and his friends before Talia could stop him. She then helped Raish escape from Batman, and they travelled to one of Raish's secret bases in the desert, where Raish started to gather supplies to rebuild what Batman had destroyed. So Batman turned up to the island and destroyed the whole base.
Fuck.
In a big massive fight. And then Raish died, she brings him back, and then they have another fight. And Talia always sides with her father in the end.
She never picks Batman.
No, she's always like, me and you are madly in love. But he's my dad, and he's also the demon's head. He runs the League of Assassins, so she always ends
He's from a different time.
Sounds really racist. Yeah. However, Batman soon found him, and Raish challenged Batman to a duel with swords to the death. Their combat lasted for hours.
Fuck.
And Raish came up victorious when Batman was stung by a scorpion.
Okay, so technically the Scorpion's the new head of the League of Assassins.
Technically, yeah. Raish left Batman to die, but of course Talia gave him the antidote and allowed Batman to recover before he could finally capture Raish al Ghul. Raish was then carried away from his desert fortress by Batman, who planned to deliver him to the authorities. Right?
Okay.
Of course, none of that ever plays out.
Never.
But what can you do? Where this comes interesting is actually, this is weirdly, Damian Wayne is involved in this as well.
Yeah.
Because, you can't talk about Raish without talking about Talia and Damian and Batman, who are all linked intrinsically to Raish. So Talia is Raish's daughter. She's in love with Batman.
Yeah. Then
it discovers that Talia is pregnant with Batman's child.
Damian Wayne.
And so Damian Wayne, who is now Robin, is technically, he's half League of Assassins, half Batman.
Killer.
Straight up killer.
Yeah.
With guns if Zack Snyder has anything to do with it. But they're together in the comic books, but at the same time Raish is really into that, because he's like, no, you have to be my heir.
Yeah.
Now you have to be in the
family.
You're in the family, you have to be now. And Batman's still like, no.
Not doing it.
So that's why Batman leaves, and Talia actually raises Damian by herself.
Yeah.
I think she even tells Batman she had a miscarriage.
Yeah, you said that in the
and she's like, oh no, I'm not pregnant anymore. So Bruce goes back to Gotham, and then she secretly raises Damian
On her own.
with the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, if we brainwash him early,
he'll be just ours.
and that could also be a way that we could convince Bruce to come into the League of Assassins. If his own son is in the League of Assassins, he'll have to join.
Yeah.
Because he'll want to change him. And this, of course, leads... You're thinking, Raish, what a guy. You
Yeah.
know, he's a great granddad. He's looking after his son. You know what I mean?
Is he though?
His grandson. And he's looking after him, and he wants him to be the best little boy everyone could be. Then it comes out that Raish realises his body is failing, and he wants to take over Damien's body in a sort of body swap situation.
Oh no.
And become a young and sprightly young man again, because his body is failing because he's used the pit way too many times.
And it's just his body wasn't built for that.
Yes.
Okay.
And so now he's using Damien as a sort of as
a host?
a host body
Jesus.
to transfer his own brain into
His 700-year-old mind.
into Damien's body and kill his own grandson.
Fuck.
Of course, Talia's a bit against this.
Not happy.
Not happy because of the whole killing her own son situation. So, of course, this leads to Batman and Talia going up against him.
Yeah.
They eventually have a big fight. Batman wins, obviously.
Of course.
Raish dies. And this might surprise you, but he comes back.
Oh no. Surely this is the last time.
No, there's been like hundreds more times. He just keeps dying. They just keep bringing it back. His body eventually... There's an episode of Batman Beyond. You haven't seen this
I've
episode.
seen some of it, but
there's an episode of Batman Beyond where Talia comes to visit Bruce, old Bruce, so he's like 80, and she's like, we can put you in the pit and you can be 30 again, and you can be Batman. And Terry's like, whoa, wait, does this mean I'm Robin kind of situation?
Yeah.
And like Terry McGinnis is Batman Beyond, and so old Bruce Wayne is like, okay, so they go back and they put him in the pit, and he even goes back to like, I think he's like 50, and he's like real sprightly, and then there's a great scene where him and Terry are fighting beside each other.
yeah.
Turns out that Raish had put his brain into Talia's body, and that he had basically killed his own daughter and took her body. Because Raish, top quality guy,
Doesn't care about anyone.
he pretends that he's like all about family and all about, but it's at the end of the day,
He's terrified of dying.
he's so terrified that he was willing to kill his own daughter and his own grandson just for the sake of him having his body.
Fuck, man.
So that's like a weird story that I have, but that's a great episode. I can't remember what the name of the episode is. But in terms of his powers and abilities, he's got Lazarus enhancement. So Ra's al Ghul has lived for several centuries thanks to his use of the Lazarus pit, which he has used countless times, replenishing his aged, injured or even dead body. As a side effect to numerous exposures to the pits, his strength, speed, stamina, agility and durability have been enhanced.
Okay, so he comes back a little stronger every
But he's
time.
crazier.
Yeah, so it's a trade-off.
Yeah. Longevity. Though through the use of Lazarus pit, Ray has acquired a greatly extended lifespan, allowing him to live near a mortal life for centuries. And as I said, he's got enhanced speed, strength, stamina, all the stuff. His abilities, alchemy. Raish is capable of creating unique potions that could be inconceivable using traditional methods, because he's like still a genius.
Yeah, he's not just the head of things. He's still smart and he does things.
Yeah, you don't get to become the head of the League of Assassins without
making a few potions.
Killing a few people along the way. He has genius level intellect, leadership, martial arts. Obviously, like we talked about Taskmaster last week.
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul is weirdly like that, but instead of Taskmaster remembers things immediately, Ra's has just lived so long
that he's just learned
that he's just memorised everything.
Fuck.
Through sheer volume of he's done these fights millions of times and he can't die, so he's just like, okay, now I know every move.
Yeah. Now I'm the best fighter now.
So he's a martial arts expert. He's got swordsmanship and tactical analysis. Raish is a brilliant tactician, planning his exploit many months or even years in advance. So that's why him and Batman are all the odds, because he sees Batman as the only person capable of matching him mentally. That's why he wants him as the heir, because he's the only person he can fight.
And he's probably thinking like, oh man, that's Batman now. Imagine him with 300 years of experience.
Exactly. So Ra's al Ghul was created by Julius Schwartz, Dennis O'Neill and Neil Adams. The name of the character was first coined by Schwartz. He first came across the word Algol, which is the name of a demon star. The name of the star comes from the Arabic Al Ghul, which means a ghoul, right? He then combined that with the word Raz from the Hebrew meaning head, thus Raz al Ghul or Resh al Ghul. Is the head of the demon.
Cool.
Is what the actual name means.
And people call him just like Raish, don't they?
They either call him Raish or they call him the demon himself. Like, they just call him the demon.
Right, okay.
Because like he's not a nice guy.
No.
So Batman birthed the demon for like a rough figure of about 500 to 600 years for Ra's al Ghul's age. So he's 600 years old.
Jesus. He was born in the 1400s.
Yeah, and he's still just around because he just keeps going to the pit.
And he's learned he's mastered everything that ever happened in all the years leading up to this.
Except death. He mastered everything except death, which he still runs in fear of.
Yeah.
Batman, I think, says he's like, you haven't mastered death. Like, you run in fear of it.
You've avoided it.
You avoid it at all costs.
Fuck.
That's what he does.
But Batman doesn't care if he dies.
That's why. He's just like, fuck it. Just fucking go.
Yeah.
Because that's why Raish respects him. He's like, oh, you've no pit at all. You still put yourself in harm's way every single night. And that's why there's like a weird respect thing.
Yeah.
But Batman is like, I'm not respecting you. You're a fucking psychopath. Because Raish is always trying to take over the world.
Yeah. Batman doesn't respect fear.
No, and he lives in fear. And he thinks he doesn't, but he really does.
Yeah, he's just made very, very high walls around himself.
Yeah. And he's yeah.
That's so cool.
As a character, he's like, psychology-wise, he's really like...
You could do a full study on him.
Yeah, he's really clever. Although this character was originally introduced during DC Earth 1 area of publication, so he was introduced before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Crisis on Infinite Earths didn't really change much of his timeline. They were like, it's pretty set.
Yeah.
They could change a lot of other people, but he's pretty much... It's basically the same.
Yeah, there's nothing too drastic here.
He's normally... My bits of trivia is that he's normally accompanied by a servant known as Ubu, who's also an especially dangerous fighter. He's normally massive, and like has a scar on his face.
Right.
But like, he's normally like... I normally see him as about 6'7", 6'8", and he's just like a tank of a man, but he never says anything.
He's just pure muscle.
Just pure muscle. He's just always around.
Okay. Ubu.
So Ra's al Ghul is among Batman's most formidable foes. Not only can he physically and mentally challenge the detective, but he has also deduced Batman's secret identity in literally his first appearance. He realised that Batman was Bruce Wayne.
What?
He's the smartest. He's the only man as smart as Bruce Wayne or the Riddler, probably.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I suppose, yeah, because he would have seen that Bruce Wayne bought the island.
Yeah. And how he worked out, if I remember correctly, was he was like, Batman would need a lot of money and he'd not need a lot of equipment. So he cross-referenced who bought that equipment with who's in Gotham City. And I think like it came down to Bruce Wayne. He's like, oh yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Why didn't anyone else figure this out?
Because it's all there.
Yeah, but he's the only one that literally thought outside the box enough to kind of look at.
Yeah.
And it remains exactly unknown exactly how old Ra's is, but centuries and centuries.
Yeah, older than anyone.
Yeah, so that is the end of my Ra's al Ghul report.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
He's a real bad dude.
Real bad. I didn't even get into how fucked up he is.
Like, just to his core.
Yeah.
Like, he's bad. Like, especially that Batman Beyond story.
Oh yeah, that's really fucked up.
And the fact, like... And he's using his daughter... He's still using his daughter to manipulate Bruce.
I think the story is that Talia turns up and she's like, my love, I'll make you young again. Me and you will be young forever. And so when Bruce goes into the pit, I think the plan is that he's going to transfer his brain from Talia's body into Bruce's body, a young Bruce Wayne, ultimately becoming Bruce Wayne.
Dude.
Because he respects him most out of everyone.
So then he will be Bruce Wayne with Bruce Wayne's power and influence.
At 30 years old.
And Batman.
Yeah.
Jesus. Fuck.
Ra's al Ghul is pretty cool.
It's very cool. That was a really good report.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Do you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks everyone very much for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We'll be back next Monday with an episode of Movie Mondays, Wednesday with Weird News Wednesdays, and next Friday with another episode of Hero or Zero. It'll be my week, so I'll have to think of something to report on. Ideally, you know?
I'd hope so.
Yeah. If you would like to support the podcast, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. There's a link in the description. You don't have to donate. You'll still get the same 3 shows a week, even if you don't donate. It's just a way for you to support the show. But the best way you can ever support the show is to tell one human being that we exist. We're on all the social medias. You can find them all in the description. And we're on all the podcast platforms. So if you're listening on iTunes, or actually wherever you're listening to your podcast, we'd appreciate a rating and a review to help us fight the algorithm.
Good stuff. I'm always fighting algorithms.
Oh, we're using a Lazarus pit to fight algorithms for millenniums.
We'll be back on Monday with more Movie Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.